Pisces, swim your way to liberation this July. Let's have an aligned astro chat about it. Hello all, I'm Stacy the Black Feather Intuitive, and welcome to this transformational tarot for our Black Feather Couture Divining a VIP Life series, and this is for July. And Pisces, OMG, I'm so excited to be connecting because I feel like this is really going to be a game changer month for you. And I feel like that liberation is a big word. So we are going to pull an overarching theme card from the Sweet Ass Affirmations 2 from Rage Create. And then I'm using a fairly new deck to myself called Crafted Clarity Tarot. I felt like I was just really drawn to the colors in this for you. It feels very, I want to say watery and flowy and fun. And I know you Pisceans like a lot of beauty. So let's get to it and see what we've got coming down the pike for you guys. As we're connecting to the energies of this month, I feel like it's really important for you to get clear on what freedom is to you. What would release you from a lot of obligation this month and help you to step more into, I want to say, joyful responsibility. Let's see what happens. Sorry, Mr. Neo is having a little freak out. If you're hearing all of that noise in the background, that is cat number 1. By honoring my suffering, I restore my awareness. Wow. Okay. So I definitely feel that when I'm tapping into this idea of liberation and you getting clear on what that might look like for you, I feel that it is about honoring where you've been stuck, where you have felt that people or the universe or yourself, has kind of held you back, where there's been struggle. Because in the struggle, I feel you're able to come back around into awareness of the why. And it's the why that is going to serve your purpose moving forward. Said with love, don't shoot the messenger. This is just what's coming through. This is an invitation to step out of that victimhood energy, that martyrdom energy, and step more into the space of this happened for a reason. What is that reason? If I truly believe that the universe has my front, back, sides, bottom, and top, then I know that everything that has transpired and all of the choices I was drawn to make or led to make are all for my own growth. It's all for my own good. And it's up to me to determine what that is. So I feel like you are going to be doing kind of an emotional deep dive this month, where you are doing a review, where you are acknowledging the parts of yourself that are feeling pained, left out, feeling ignored, and you're reintegrating. And I feel like you're reintegrating based on the awareness, the attention that you're bringing to the situation, to the feeling, to the emotion, to the person. All right, this is your present. Where are you right now in your transformational journey? What part of you is shifting, rising, or dissolving? Interesting. We've got the Ace of Pentacles. So I feel like you have been in a space and a place where there have been a lot of things that you've wanted to initiate, you've wanted to put out into the world. You've been very enthusiastic about it. You felt at the core of you that this was the next best thing or the next right thing or the thing that you absolutely needed to do. And I feel like there's been a lot of push-pull on that. Yes, we could talk, divine order and timing and all that nonsense. What I'm actually feeling is the energy that's coming through is, if that's really what you thought, what seeds did you actually plant? Like, I almost want to say to you, it feels a little bit like a manifesting thing or a co-creative thing. You get this incredible inspiration. You're super pumped about it. You're not aware of the psychological or the subconscious fear that you have while you're thinking about how amazing this thing would be, this subconscious fear starts to kind of bleed into the manifestation, and then you feel it into being. And then you're like, wait a second, why did I thought this was where we were going. I thought this was the direction that we were heading. Why am I now suddenly, manifesting kind of a bastardized version of what it is that I was trying to seek? Why is there obstacle in my path? And sometimes the obstacle can be that, I want to say, that divine order and timing, but that's not what I'm feeling here. I'm feeling like there's been a disconnection from the awareness of how your thoughts or your truest beliefs on a deep level have been influencing what it is that you've been trying to bring into the world. So Ace of Pentacles is really about planting a seed. It's pure potential. And I feel like right now you are in this pure potential. And it's kind of like the Ace of Pentacles is coming up to say, all right, let's just kind of do a do-over. You can never plant enough seeds. So let's go back to the garden and let's just sort of clear a path. And by clear a path, I mean clear the emotional attachment to what this is, so that we can be purely in that space of imagination, that manifestation, that co-creation, awareness of what you're really trying to bring into the world, what you really want to feel. Maybe not how you felt in the past, but what you want to feel in the future. And that is what you plant. And that feels really, really important. The catalyst. What's fueling or hindering your transformation? Is this resistance or rocket fuel? Interesting, the Tower. So I'm feeling like, as I'm looking at this Tower is an encouragement for you to look at your current situation from a different perspective. And I'm seeing for some of you, there's a person involved that you're trying to get on board. You're trying to, maybe it's a business choice. You're trying to open a business with a new partner. Maybe this is a romantic partnership, and you're trying to convince your partner to take a trip or to take a class with you, or so I feel like there's like cajoling here. There's convincing, that's sort of going on here, whatever the situation. And I feel like for you, it's about recognizing that, yes, we can read the room, know the audience, so that you can deliver the message in the best way the other person can receive it. I'm actually getting the opposite message around this. And I'm getting that you need to express it from your perspective, give your energy, your fuel, your enthusiasm to the experience, because that is what's going to ignite whatever they need ignited within them to see it in a different way. Because right now, the way they're seeing it is through obligation. How interesting that I'm coming up with that. They're seeing it through obligation, and they're not interested in obligation. So perhaps for you, it's about fueling it with your passion, with your vision, with what you see being the absolute potential or the incredible outcome that it's going to be. And that, I feel, is shifting the perspective for others, to get others kind of on board, to at least get you started. And I feel like that's going to help you to feel a lot better about where you're at. This is definitely rocket fuel for you, because right now you're feeling a bit disenfranchised. You're feeling a little bit disappointed or disheartened even, because you're like, how is it that nobody else is seeing how great this is going to be? And I don't necessarily want to take this journey alone. I've intuited it. I've seen that I'm supposed to do that with this person or this type of person. I don't understand. So there's kind of a release of the expectation of the outcome, but there's also a sharing of how you're really feeling about this experience that is going to ignite the other person. And it's not about cajoling the other person, talking the other person into it, or manipulation. It's more of a sharing your enthusiasm. Because right now you're trying to deliver it in a way that they're going to receive and understand. And for whatever reason, they're not. So share your enthusiasm with it. And that's going to open things up. Deep root. What deep belief, wound, or soul contract is driving this transformation in July under the surface? King of Pentacles. You're used to getting, I want to say you're used to kind of like on a soul level, okay? On a soul level, we're talking, past and parallel lives right now. You're used to getting your way. You're used to getting all the things that you need. You've kind of mastered the art of manifestation, of co-creation. You've lived a lot of lives. Nothing really is a surprise anymore. And you've come into this lifetime in this body as you, trying to find a new way to experience the old in a new way. And I feel like this sort of soul contract that you've made with yourself, it's almost like you've been bored, like you're bored a little bit. You were a little bit bored. You are a little bit bored. This is why you're trying to come up with all of these other things. And like you're just sleeping. You're sleeping through life. I feel like maybe we could also say this is a catalyst, but I also feel like this is what is driving you under the surface. This is what, filters everything. Is you're always looking for the next adventure. You're always looking for the next new thing because you've been there and done that with a lot of different things. And this is your lifetime to really get creative, to step outside the box, to look for new things. And I feel like it's looking for new experiences with others. That is the crux of it for this month. And I feel like this king energy, you get pissed off when other people don't follow suit, when other people don't want to play, when they don't see, the amazingness or the awesomeness of it. And I want to say to you, I feel like this is kind of something that you want to be aware of. You've made this soul contract with yourself, but it's also up to you to bring the excitement and the joy. Like here's the older man and he's just having his little nap, like he's fallen asleep with something in his hands because there's just not enough to stimulate him. He's had so much that it's almost like he needs to have less in order to remind himself of what it feels like, and to take to be grateful for what it feels like to have and to have more. And I feel like this is in regards to the experiences that you're wanting to have at this point. Wow, I feel that this is a little bit esoterical already. I'm sorry if I'm a little all over the map with that. I hope that I explained that in a way that makes sense. We'll see what the other cards have to say. What's dying away? What part of you is falling away? What role, pattern, or identity has run its course? You're so tired of throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. You really want that full-on experience. You want your cake and eat it too. You're kind of like, all right, maybe this is what is, from a soul perspective and a soul level, this is what is driving me, but this is how I feel in real life. I'm not the king, I'm the page, and I'm trying to, invent and plan new things. I'm trying to think in a different way. I'm trying to be more creative and more curious in my life because I don't want to be this. I want to be this. But it's also exhausting when I'm throwing spaghetti at the wall and I don't really ever get anything that I can follow through with. And I want to say maybe the follow through is not where the focus needs to be. The focus needs to be more on the experience of the process of the experience. Sometimes we have to shift our expectation. And it's not to say that you're never going to have follow through or have an entire experience. It's more like we have to shift our perspective on it because the expectation is to get the outcome of the experience. When you hang on to that, that's the very thing that slips away from you. When you release it and you're open to it, then it shows up. Then you get all sorts of follow through. You get all sorts of spaghetti that's going to stick. And then you've got an abundance and maybe an overabundance of, you might feel overwhelmed a little bit with the choice, the experiences, the shifts, the changes. So I feel like when we're talking about what's dying away, I feel in a lot of ways that, sort of King of Pentacles energy is dying away. But I want to say what's dying away is the exhaustion around throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. And instead, you're stepping into a space where you're recognizing, oh, the spaghetti experiment is about new experience, new thought. There was something that just popped into my head, and give me a second to see if I can get it back. The curiosity is the point. The curiosity is the new approach. And I don't need to look at the act of throwing spaghetti at the wall as being a failure or being tiresome. I need to see it as part of the experiment, part of the process. It's part of the curiosity. You're looking at it from that king perspective, saying, but we need to be at the other end of things here. We need to be at step 10. Paige says, no, I'm learning. It's the journey. It's the journey, and I'm curious about all of the parts of the journey. Sometimes I can, sort of move ahead a little bit further or miss something in my own enthusiasm, but I'm curious about the things that I'm drawn to. And it's that curiosity that is exciting, that is very exciting. Highest potential in your transformation. So this is your Phoenix possibility, or your Phoenix potential, I'd like to say. And I love this question. What can rise from the ashes? What is your soul calling you toward? Because this is your breakthrough energy for the month. Oh my God, another king. King of Swords. So you are the Page of Swords right now. When you accept the curious journey, when you accept the journey and you're curious about the journey, what comes out as a result is, the king energy, the mastery of my mind, the mastery of my communication, the mastery of my intuition, the mastery of what I choose to contribute and how I choose to engage with people in my life. So yes, this king is also, he's got his eyes closed. I feel it's not that he's sleeping. This one, I feel he's definitely sleeping. I mean, the eyes are sagging. He's tired, like he's bone weary. This guy, I feel it's more like he's meditating. He's closing his eyes right now. He's taking a pause because he's about to surge forward with his sword. And I don't feel like this is in battle. I feel like he's about to surge forward into a new journey, a new quest, and he is gathering his thoughts. He is formulating his thoughts because he is a master of that co-creative energy. He recognizes that he needs to be pure of thought in order to identify what the next journey or the next quest is going to be. He's creating it as he goes. So this isn't about sleeping. This is about being very intentionally active in his visualization. And I feel like that's kind of what you've been missing a little bit. You've been in flow, but maybe a little bit scattered on the vision of things, leaning into other people's visions. And maybe that's where some of that suffering has been. I've been living for other people. I've been doing a lot of things for other people that I've kind of forgotten what my vision is or what my purpose is. And my purpose is to have some new experience, to allow myself to be curious about life. What's emerging just around the corner? What energy or experience is coming in to support your next phase? The Hierophant. Ooh. So for a lot of you, I feel very much this connection to teacher. For some of you, I feel like the message with teacher is that there's going to be, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. That some of you are going to have a teacher appear, a mentor appear at this time. And when that teacher appears, there's going to be some pretty incredible experience, a lot that you're going to be able to write about, that you're going to be able to speak on, that you're going to be able to feel into. For others of you, I feel that this is the journey that you are on of being the teacher, that curiosity around what others need to learn, what others are seeking to understand based on your wealth of knowledge and wisdom, based on your structure, your ritual. You are in a position to be able to teach others what that path is, what that role is. It's interesting that it's a 5. shift, change, transformation is happening. I also want to say you're breaking with tradition. You're expanding on existing tradition. You are doing things differently. And I feel like your intuition is going to lead you to what that looks like. But you have to really understand that the purpose of it is because of this curiosity. And there's a part of you at times, you love the idea of curiosity, but then you kind of back off a little bit because you're like, oh shit, I don't know how this is all going to turn out. And like, I can go with the flow, with the best of them, but this thing in particular, I don't know. I don't know if I should be doing this. I don't know. I don't know how this is going to play out. And, there's a lot riding on this. I feel like the Hierophant is the invitation to really teach others about the curiosity of the path, to say sometimes it's okay for us to break with tradition. Sometimes we can use tradition or we can use ritual to give us a little bit of structure to sort of dive in. But at the end of the day, the purpose is to do things differently, even if that's just in a small way that we're doing that differently. Interesting. I also want to say there's a particular person that's going to be coming into your path. This is a Taurus card. So it could be a Taurus or an earth sign. But there's a particular person that's going to be coming into your path that I keep hearing is going to be providing you with a challenge. Now, sometimes spirit works in mysterious ways, and that challenge might be like in the form of an argument or a difficult person or a difficult interaction. Sometimes the challenge is someone says, hey, this is how I live my life and this is how I see things and do things. What do you think? You want to give it a shot? Maybe try something else or try something new. And you're like, yeah, I'm up for that challenge. Show me, teach me, show me the way. I feel like whichever category you fall in, what I'm hearing is to say yes to the challenge. You're safe to say yes to the challenge, but I'm hearing very clearly, say yes to the challenge. The challenge, I feel, is going to open something up for you that you otherwise would not have the opportunity to explore. And I feel like it's only going to come around in this way kind of once. So if you say no to the challenge, you'll have to learn the experience or have the experience another way. This isn't a do it or else. Of course, we always have choice. They're just conveying that this is, you can get a lot done by saying yes to this one particular challenge versus, waiting. There might be some other factors to consider in all of that. What part are you playing in the navigation of your transformation here? Are you resisting, flowing, grieving, or boldly rising? I'm hearing that you're boldly rising, but you're boldly rising by keeping yourself. Okay, so the way I would describe this is one of my favorite sayings is go big or go home. So when we're creating a vision for ourselves, you can be that go big or go home kind of person where you're like, all right, I don't know how the hell it's going to happen. I have no skills around this or whatever, but I want to be a neurosurgeon. And, I know I'm going to have to go back to school. I'm going to have to do all sorts of things. But there are going to be a lot of things on the journey. Like, I just don't know. I've never done any research. I just woke up with this idea in my head. And this is what I'm going to do. So that's the goal I'm going to set for myself. And, whether I achieve it or not, I'm not worried. I'm just going for it. You have other people who are like, yeah, I'm really nervous. I would rather err on the side of caution and know that I'm going to get to the place that I need to get to. So I'm going to set the bar low. I'm going to give myself a goal that I absolutely know that I can achieve. And then you've got people kind of in the center space that are like, all right, I would like to challenge myself a little bit, but I don't know that I want to be a neurosurgeon. I don't know that I can reach that level. I don't know that I can be that neurosurgeon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to aim to be a doctor, and I'm going to do some research around specializing what neurosurgery might be about, but I'm not setting that as my absolute goal so that I can absolutely reach being that doctor. I know it's going to take me a lot of work, but I know I can get there. And it's going to be tough. There are going to be some challenges. And then the neurosurgeon is the, even better if. I feel like with this Page of Wands, it's like you're looking at things and you're saying, I really need a win here. I really need a win. So in order for me to give myself that win, I'm going to set the bar a little bit lower, just so that I can build my confidence. And, that's totally within your right and your purview to make that choice. And I totally get it if you do. And I want to say, I feel like source energy, spirit energy is saying, maybe don't set the bar so low. Maybe go with the medium. You don't necessarily have to go with the go big or go home if you truly aren't feeling ready for that. But don't set the bar so low, because then you run into the soul contract that you're trying to break, right? I've been there, done that, and bought the t-shirt. Everything is easy for me. So I'm looking for the part of the excitement of this is some of the challenge in that. So the Page of Wands is going to add her fire, her flame to it, and give herself a little bit of a challenge. Not too much, but not setting the bar really low either. So I feel like that's kind of the, sort of the choice that you're stepping into. And I feel that is maybe it's not boldly rising. Maybe it's rising with the intention of rising boldly, working up to the boldness. And that's totally okay. Circles of support. Who or what is influencing your transformation right now, positively or negatively? Ooh, we have the Chariot. So I feel like your circles of support right now are a little scattered. Like everybody's got their own journey. They're all traveling, or they're all, on their own interesting paths. And it's one of those things where you're like, God, I wish I could call someone for a sounding board. But when I go down my list of people, this one's going through a surgery. This one is having trouble with their kids. This one's on vacation until next month. This one's got blah, blah, blah. I feel almost like, I don't want to say to you, don't have any circles of support. I want to say, I feel like your circle of support is a bit scattered in the wind right now. And it may require a little bit of travel, or kind of a bumpy ride, or maybe taking a bit of a risk and reaching out to someone or something that isn't the sure bet or the sure thing. But at least it's something. And I feel like a part of that, the Chariot is getting us from island A to island B. And it's not necessarily getting us there in style, but it's certainly a lot better than us having to walk it with all of our luggage, right? So I feel like when we're talking about that circles of support energy right now, this is a month where you might be making some of these shifts and, deciding, okay, the Page of Wands, I don't want to set the bar too low. Well, how do I know, what that bar is? You might want to reach out, and then the circles of support says, okay, it's going to be a bit of a challenge to reach out to those people, or I might need to reach out to someone that, I don't know, they could give me great advice. They might not be very helpful at all, but let me just sort of give it a shot. I feel also like we need to talk about your own willpower, power of your will. And I feel like that's important here in the circle of support. If you're not able to connect with a lot of your usual people to get the information that you're looking for, I feel like you want to tap into your will, into your solar plexus chakra. By honoring my suffering, I restore my awareness, going into your own awareness and, just troubleshooting a little bit from that perspective. This is temporary, people not being around or as accessible. It's a temporary experience. It's not forever, but it's definitely this month. And it kind of makes sense. This is a month where a lot of people travel. So, that actually isn't surprising to me that card would come out and come through. Okay, hopes and fears. What are you dreaming of becoming? And what scares you about actually doing it? Love this question. Oh my God, another ace. Ace of Wands. Again, wands. You are being challenged to go into your sort of opposite spaces, right? You're a water sign. Fire is ignition, right? It's fuel, it's motivation. It gets you going. It gets you where you need to be. And I feel like this is inspired action. What I'm hearing is I feel like you're really afraid to make the wrong action, to make the wrong choice, to start on a path and then you get bored and you don't want to follow through with it. Or you really want to follow through with it and nobody else is on board with you, kind of like what we were talking about here, using the powers of persuasion, using your powers of perspective and how you're feeling about it. But I want to say, let's turn that frown upside down. The Ace of Wands is pure potential when it comes to that inspired action. And kind of like the message here with the Tower, I feel like this is the same thing. If you build it, he will come, right? Field of Dreams. Same kind of idea here. You have the idea, you have that fuel. So lean into that fuel, lean into that energy, take the step towards what it is that you want to do. And the universe will take 10 steps on your behalf. Don't wait for someone to hold your hand while you're doing it. Yes, you want it to be, a partnered activity or a group activity, but sometimes we have to actually take the step first, and then the person shows up, the person arrives. And I feel very much that that's what this is indicating, that you might have a little bit of fear about going solo, starting it on your own, not having the validation or the confirmation from your circles of support before you actually take the action step. And I feel like that's part of the challenge here. Part of the excitement is doing it without that and just pay attention to what happens. It's only one step. So, how bad can it go? Is what I want to say to you. If it's really bad, you just take a step back and start from scratch, start over again. Which PS and FYI, I don't think you're going to have to do that. But just saying, you want to keep it in perspective. How bad can it actually be? It's empowering yourself, coming back into your own space. And this is the highest and best outcome if you stay on course. Who will you be on the other side of this journey in July? And what is the result of embracing the full cycle of death and rebirth? Ooh, Wheel of Fortune. So I feel like you're going to be liquid luck. I feel like this is going to infuse so much joy and excitement and success and confidence in you that you're going to say, oh my God, it's almost like an addiction. I didn't think I'd be able to do this thing on my own. And yet here I have done this thing on my own. And now I just want more. I feel like that Wheel of Fortune is going to be an encouragement for you. It's going to support you in what it is that you're doing. And if we talk about the Wheel of Fortune, the Wheel of Fortune can change. It can shifts directions, shifts your hopes and desires on a dime, but it also symbolizes change. I feel like this is shifting you in the direction that you wanted to go, that page energy of learning new thought and new things and creating new plans and creating a new quest for yourself, right? Taking that quest, almost like repurposing that King of Pentacles energy, taking your wisdom and knowledge and shuffling it all up, making it a little bit different. The Wheel of Fortune, I feel, is here to support you. And it's a 10, which is new beginnings based on an already established foundation. And you have multiple aces in this reading as well. And you have pages. So aces are ones. Wheel of Fortune is a 10, which breaks down into a 1. And pages are 11s because they come after the 10. So there's so much new beginning. And I want to say delicious, spiritual, energetic, supportive energy, angelic energy that is going to support this new beginning and this fresh start. And I really believe that you're going to be pleasantly surprised on the other side of all of this when you do get it started. And then when your friends are around and, when you're ready to find that partner and, do all the things and the stuff, or you've talked to that partner and now they're suddenly on board because you've shown your enthusiasm, you've taken that first step and they now can see that potential. The places you'll go. And I feel like, there I am. It's kind of like you recognize in that moment, I'm back. I didn't realize that I was lost or I was far from myself or that I was slightly disconnected. But this whole journey is going to bring me right back into that space and that place. OMG. Pisces. What a fabulous month this is going to be for you. Please feel free to share your experiences throughout the month in the comments below. I'm going to be doing this right along with you. So very excited to see how this is all going to pan out. Have the most amazing month in July. That is our July Transformational Tarot reading. And we will see you on the flip side. Wishing you all the best on this journey.